Hey guys, welcome to my recovery series. This is basically the series where I'm going to be going over my routines that I've been doing to recover from a few injuries I faced while running. And honestly, it's a little bit weird doing voiceovers, creating videos, creating content. So just bear with me as I figure stuff out, as I upskill and I learn more. I'm definitely getting better. I only started learning about how to use CapCut, Instagram Reels, all of this content creation stuff. I only started learning like a week ago. I'm also in the middle of launching my startup, which is super exciting. So that's obviously taking a lot of my time, but I just wanted to start putting content out there because over the course of this year, I've really experimented a lot, not just in my businesses and my professional life, but also my body. And I just want to document that journey. And if anyone else is interested in seeing what is possible to do with the human body, I'm your guy. So yeah, let's just get into the workout, I guess. I started doing yoga maybe a year and a half ago, and honestly I enjoy it a lot. I think it's a great way to connect with your body, but I think what I find that's missing from yoga is like the dynamic aspects of things. So I really like to mix up static postures with a little bit of dynamic movement, and this is what I guess you're seeing here in the first exercise. So the actual yoga position is called malasana. So it's essentially like a deep squat where you're, just sitting very deep. And doing the malasana is actually a great starting point. It really does open up the hips. And once you've kind of conquered that and you're feeling comfortable in that position, then you can kind of advance into what I'm doing here. So my goal with doing this exercise and adding more mobility to the malasana is I'm essentially trying to emulate my movements when I'm running, right? So when I'm running, I'm not static, like my legs are constantly in motion. So that is also what I'm trying to replicate here with my lower body movement. So I'm really trying to put my body into positions that are very similar, or like maybe very similar to when I'm running. This next exercise, I actually tried to find the name for this exercise. I did so much Googling, so much research, but I couldn't find anything. And the best thing I came up with is one-legged plank with toe mobility rocks. So it's, quite a mouthful, but essentially what you're trying to do is you're in a plank position, you're on one leg, and you're just rocking backwards and forwards. I'm doing these exercises because one of my problematic areas is actually my left foot. I had an injury playing football not too long ago, and it just hurts every time I put any pressure on the top of my feet. So I'm doing these just to strengthen my calf muscles, strengthen my feet, and I found that these have been working great in helping me do so. Then I transitioned into, I don't even know what these are called if I'm being honest. It's like you're in a cat-cow position, but you're not doing the cat-cow. Essentially, I'm on my knees and I'm just focused on getting the right contact point from the top of my feet to the mat. As I'm doing this, I'm really mindful, and it's literally only my toes that are touching the ground, as you can see there. And then I slowly transition into the thunderbolt pose. Now this position is great because it really stretches the ankles, the feet, and the toes all at the same time. And if you're a runner, you may be facing some stiffness in your ankles, and this is a great way to address this problem. Now you can do this position and just sit still, but what I actually like to do is just add a little bit of movement, just rolling side to side. I find that it helps a lot. The thunderbolt pose is actually a great warm-up for this next exercise, which is the reclining hero. There are so many quad exercises and stretches you can do to really release the tightness in your quads. I found that the reclining hero is a top tier exercise. As I'm doing these, I get such a good stretch on my quads, Sometimes it can be quite intense, so definitely build up to it. If you're not there, don't risk it, don't risk injury, but it feels so good. And it's a great exercise because it counteracts the quad tightness from the repetitive running motion that runners typically face. It's funny how I actually came across this exercise. So I'm not sure if you guys watch the anime Baki, but he does this position, and I just remember thinking, how cool would it be if I could also do the same? Those reclining heroes were actually quite intense, so I decided to do some toe breakers here just to give myself a little bit of a break. This exercise is called the figure 4, and it targets the deep gluteal muscles and piriformis. The benefits of doing this exercise is that it really opens up the hip rotators and it relieves sciatic tension, which in other words basically means it's good for your lower back. I really enjoyed doing this position just because it targets so many of my problem areas. So I really stayed in this position and held these positions for quite a while. This next exercise has slowly become one of my favorite exercises to do. And I say slowly because it has taken me quite a long while to build up the flexibility and mobility in order to be able to do these. But this position is called the plow position, and it is so good because it stretches the entire back chain and it really calms the nervous system down. It's a deep spinal flexion where your legs are essentially overhead. When I started doing these, I thought I might break my back. But as you can see here, I've got pretty comfortable in the position and I've started to incorporate some rotations in there as well. When you're doing these, my recommendation is to do it very slowly. So you can see I'm doing the rotations here, but I'm taking very, very small steps because I just want to get the rotation. Like, I'm not trying to injure my back or break my back, right? So just take it very easy, do what feels right, do what feels comfortable. I know my body pretty well, and that's why I'm feel comfortable doing these. But if you're just doing these for the first time, it is going to feel different. It is going to feel odd. You're putting your body in a position that it's never been in. So just take it easy. Listen to your body and do what feels right. One way that you can build up to this is actually with this position I'm doing here right now, which are the shoulder stands. And this is good because you're not getting the full flexion that you get from the plow pose, but it's halfway there, right? So that you can kind of see how I'm transitioning in between the plow pose and the shoulder stand, and it feels very natural once you start to feel more comfortable with the movement. After the shoulder stands, which can be quite intense because you're inverted and there's a lot of pressure on your spine, I like to do these spinal rocks, which it feels like a gentle massage for the spine. After all of the mat work, it's time to get on your feet, and we begin by doing the runner's lunge. This is great because it really opens up the hip flexors, and if you're looking to improve your stride length, this is a great exercise that can help you to do this. I really like this position because it directly mimics your body or the position of your body when you are running. When I'm in the runner's lunge position, there's two other positions which I transition in between. So this is the lizard position here, which I'm doing horribly, and the low lunge, which you're seeing me do here. As always, my focus is really on mobility and trying to mimic the motions when I'm running because those are the muscles I'm trying to strengthen, and that's why I'm just rocking backwards and forwards here. From the low lunge position, what I like to do is transition into the one leg folded forward bend. This is a great hamstring lengthening exercise, and you're essentially stretching out your hamstring with one leg bend. Then we just repeat the same flow on the other side. next exercise is a classic. It's the kneeling quad stretch. And what we're doing with this stretch is isolating each quadricep and stretching it out. It's a deep quad release and it's essential for maintaining knee health and stride efficiency. I have a love-hate relationship with this next position. This position is called the pigeon pose, and it's a deep hip opener. It releases the hip rotators and the glutes, and while you're running, it really helps you to prevent those hip imbalances and helps you to maintain proper form. I love these because it targets my problem areas, and I hate them because it targets my problem areas. Now, don't get me wrong, the pigeon position is a great exercise for hips, but this next exercise is top tier. If I could only pick one hip exercise to do for the rest of my life, it would be these. The 90-90 hip mobility. And I guess what I love about it is that it's a hip exercise and that it's dynamic. So my hips are constantly in motion. And ever since I started incorporating this in my routine, I've noticed that my soreness definitely goes down, especially after the long runs. To wrap up this routine, I'm finishing off with the band-assisted, reclined, hand to big toe. This is a great hamstring exercise because you're really getting a deep stretch in your hamstrings. And as a runner, this really helps you to improve the kickback phase when you're in your running stride. One tip for this exercise is to make sure that your legs are straight. And by this, I mean both of your legs. So there's clearly one leg which is up in the air right now, but I'm very mindful when I'm doing this exercise of keeping my other leg straight and planted on the ground. I feel like this really helps me to focus more on the leg that is up in the air and just helps me to get a deeper stretch in those hamstrings. So that's 18 exercises that covers the lower body and the back. Hopefully this has helped you out and given you some ideas for how you can mix up your routines as well. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, subscribe. I don't even know what other call to actions I need to say because this is my first video. But yeah, I really enjoyed making this video. It did take me a long time, so your support would mean a lot. And I've got so much good stuff coming. I'm not gonna lie, over the course of this year, I've probably recorded about 200 to 250 gigabytes of content. And that content includes me losing over 18 kilos, transforming my body, transforming my mind. I learned how to code this year. I learned how to write this year. I started my startups, doing content creation. It's been a wild journey and I can't wait to give you guys an insight into it. So make sure you're subscribed for that. All right, peace guys, catch you in the next one.